5 teenagers walk into detention on a typical Monday afternoon, but only 4 of them walk out alive. Welcome to today's Explainer. We're breaking down a chilling psychological investigation that starts out like a classic teen movie, but ends as a complete true crime nightmare. We are unspooling the dark, tangled web of One of Us is Lying. Now, the central mystery here, it isn't just about who killed the school's most notorious gossip. It's the terrifying realization that every single person in that room is hiding something that could absolutely destroy their lives. I'm the omniscient narrator. Let that sink in. Those eerie, cryptic words were spoken just moments before Simon Kelleher collapsed, violently gasping for air from a lethal allergic reaction. It wasn't a heart attack. It wasn't a seizure. It was a massive dose of peanut oil ingested in a room full of people. But the real horror is how it happened. Simon saw everything. He knew everyone's deepest secrets, and right before he died, he reminded the entire room that he held all the cards. Section 1. The Deadly Detention Room. To understand how a completely routine punishment turned into a locked-room crime scene, we have to look really closely at the exact sequence of events that trapped our players together. On the surface, the Bayview 4 look like standard, everyday high school archetypes. You know the drill. We've got the brain, the jock, the criminal, and the princess. But as the source material asks, who would you actually believe? Are these just innocent kids caught in the wrong place at the worst possible time? Or did one of them bring peanut oil to school with murder on their mind? Let's look at the timeline, because this sequence of events reveals a highly orchestrated trap. At 2:55 p.m., the teacher confiscates phones that were planted in the students' backpacks. They didn't even own them. They were framed just to be kept in detention. At 3:05, a staged car crash happens right outside the window. At 3:07, the teacher leaves the room, completely abandoning the students. And exactly 3 minutes later, Simon drinks the poisoned water and collapses. This is a timeline of deliberate distractions that perfectly isolated the students from any adult supervision. Make no mistake, this was not an accident. But here is the single most terrifying detail of this entire case. When Simon went into anaphylactic shock, the students panicked. They rushed to the nurse's office to save him. But the office had been completely stripped of all EpiPens right before the incident. Someone ensured that when Simon started choking, there would be absolutely no way to reverse it. It was a guaranteed death sentence. Which leads us to a massive, glaring question. How does a lethal dose of peanut oil just magically appear in a plastic cup? The police zeroed in on the room, concluding that the oil had to be added after the water was poured from the sink. The teacher was gone. That means the killer was sitting right there, breathing the exact same air, pretending to be utterly shocked. Section 2. 4 suspects, 4 secrets. The police immediately developed tunnel vision. They locked on to the 4 surviving teens fast, because they all had a terrifying motive. Simon ran a notorious Never Wrong gossip app called About That, and he was exactly 24 hours away from ruining all 4 of their lives. Bronwyn, the straight-A student, was caught stealing test answers. Nate, already on probation, was dealing drugs. Addie, the perfect girlfriend, had cheated on her hyper-controlling boyfriend Jake. And Cooper, the golden boy baseball star, was about to be outed with a fake steroid rumor, which was actually a smokescreen to hide his real secret: he was gay. 4 destroyed reputations, 4 massive motives for murder. And of course, it didn't take long for the world to notice. The media instantly sensationalized the tragedy. A national true crime show dubbed them the Bayview 4. The public, just ravenous for drama, demanded justice based purely on these leaked, buried secrets. It became a modern-day witch hunt. And it culminated in Nate, the kid with the criminal record, being arrested and thrown into juvenile detention after someone planted the missing EpiPens right in his locker. Case closed, right? Well, not quite. As defense attorney Eli Kleinfelter pointed out on national television, there was a 5th kid in the room, wasn't there? Who else had a motive? What story's not being told? Everyone was so obsessed with the 4 surviving suspects that they completely ignored the victim's own dark history. What if Simon wasn't just a casualty? Section 3. The investigation unravels. While the police were busy patting themselves on the back for locking up the easy target, the remaining teens, Bronwyn, Cooper, and Addie, began pooling their own clues. They realized the official narrative simply didn't add up. Just take a look at these anomalies. That red Camaro from the parking lot crash, it didn't belong to a student. Someone was literally paid to be there. Digging into Simon's digital footprint, they found an obsessive, violence-loving alter ego on 4chan. They discovered Cooper's original post was manually swapped from the truth about his sexuality to a fake steroid rumor. And they realized Simon had a deep, venomous history of targeting the people around them. These weren't random coincidences. These pointed to a conspiracy far, far deeper than a spontaneous classroom poisoning. The deeper the remaining teens dug, the more obvious it became. The police were looking for a murderer, but they were actually being manipulated by a ghost. The Bayview Four were just pawns in a meticulously pre-written script. Someone had orchestrated this entire circus from the very beginning. Section 4. Hidden clues and accomplices. Now, the ultimate breakthrough in this case didn't come from a highly trained detective. Nope. It came from Cooper's boyfriend, Chris, who used a simple, devastating process of elimination to shatter the entire case wide open. Think about it. Step 1. The killer couldn't be the 4 students. They barely knew each other and had zero coordination. Step 2. It couldn't be the teacher, who had absolutely no motive. So step 3. If you eliminate everyone who didn't do it, you are left with the only other person in the room, Simon himself. Chris proposed a totally chilling theory. The victim orchestrated his own demise, and the proof was hiding in plain sight. Simon's horrifying 4chan posts revealed a depressed, deeply resentful teen who fantasized about going out in a blaze of infamy. He wrote, "Do something original. Surprise me when you take out a bunch of lemming assholes." He hated the popular kids. He hated the entire school hierarchy. So the crucial point here is this. It wasn't murder. It was an explosive, framed suicide. Simon Kelleher engineered a school shooting equivalent without ever actually firing a gun. He used his own death as the ultimate weapon to destroy the lives of the kids he despised most. He brought the peanut oil. He drank it willingly. He truly was the omniscient narrator writing his own final chapter. Section 5. The Mastermind's Final Play. But hold on, because there's a massive hole in the suicide theory. A dead boy cannot plant stolen EpiPens in Nate's locker days after the fact. A dead boy can't update a Tumblr page taunting the police. Simon had to have an accomplice. The ultimate control freak still walking the halls. Addie's ex-boyfriend, Jake. Think about their motivations. Simon wanted ultimate revenge on the high school hierarchy and to be immortalized as an evil genius. Jake? Well, Jake discovered Addie had cheated on him because Simon told him, and Jake wanted to completely annihilate her life as punishment for betraying his control. It was a match made in hell. Jake was the puppet master keeping the investigation alive. Operating in the shadows, Jake forces Simon to alter Cooper's post because Jake just can't handle his best friend being gay. He pays the outsiders to stage the Camaro accident. Simon executes his suicide. And, post-mortem, Jake frames Nate by planting the missing EpiPens. Jake perfectly executed the framing to ensure Addie and the others went down for murder. It was only through the Bayview Four finally tearing down the walls of their high school cliques, trusting each other, and sharing their deepest secrets that they survived Jake and Simon's twisted trap. They had to own their truths to defeat a mastermind who weaponized their lies. Which leaves us with one final, incredibly provocative question. If the victim of a crime is also its architect, is anyone in the story truly innocent? Simon used the truth as a weapon, proving that sometimes the deadliest lies are the ones we tell ourselves. Thank you for joining me on this explainer. What did you think of the Bayview Four? Dive into the source material for yourself, and I'll catch you on the next deep dive.